It was the start of October 2022. I was getting ready for Halloween. I had been thinking of a good costume to wear, but I didn't have enough time, and I only had a costume of Woody from Toy Story. I was really mad that I didn't have any other good costumes left. I never wore a Mario costume in my life. Well, I do have the hat, but not the entire costume. I even wore a costume of Poe from the Teletubbies when I was young, but it doesn't fit me anymore, only the hat. At that moment, my mom announced that the Halloween party at my friend's house was starting. This is gonna suck, I sighed. I got into my mom's car. Everything was boring. Halloween was boring. 4:20 p.m. All right, let me stop there. Rowan, I love how you put this in the diary entry. I mean, it's a little cliched, but if it ain't broke, don't fix it, they say. So good job there. Anyway, when we got here, everybody was here. There were even Halloween decorations hung up, lights, skeletons, jack-o'-lanterns, etc. Well, here comes the fun, I smirked. I went into our friend's house and just looked on my phone, like what I do when I'm bored. I decided to look on our friend's TV to find something to watch on Netflix or Stan. Okay, Rowan, what's Stan? Is it a streaming service I don't know about? Is it an Australian streaming service? Something? I looked on Stan, which is a very good song by Eminem. I highly recommend it. There was nothing that took my interest. I looked on Netflix. There was H2O Mermaid Adventures. I decided to watch it to cheer myself up. 5:30 p.m. While I was still watching H2O Mermaid Adventures, of our friends walked into the house and asked if she can use the TV. I accepted. She went to look on Disney Plus. As he was browsing through, she saw Toy Story of Terror, a Halloween special for Toy Story. She then drew her eyes on to me, knowing how much I liked the Toy Story franchise. Our friend put it on for me, and we enjoyed every minute of it. 6:15 p.m. It was almost time for dinner. I watched many of the children playing. They were having fun, but I wasn't. I was, bored. I decided to walk around in the dark. I unexpectedly walked through some of the bushes and what appeared to be the woods. When I looked back, I realized I walked about 90 meters, which appeared to be very far away. I was shocked and worried. I attempted to walk back to the party before I suddenly heard a nearby bush rustle. The rustling suddenly startled me. It rustled for a second until a man popped out. He had black hair with a red streak, crimson eyes, a red and black shirt, red and black striped gloves, black pants, and black and red sneakers. I let out a startled gasp before falling backwards. The mysterious red and black slasher walked towards me with a sinister grin. Good day, he said. Who are you? I stammered. I am Pasta Boy, the man answered. My name is Rowan, I replied. Pasta Boy then paced around me slowly as he introduced himself. You may or may not have seen me, but may have a similar hairstyle, the same face proportions, or a similar voice, but I am the future version of you. I gasped in shock. What? I exclaimed in fear. It's true. I can see your future, he replied as he continued pacing around me. I've gone insane because nobody would relate to me. I never got a chance to see my friends in person, nor hang out with them again. I made posts on Facebook asking them if they can ever hang out with me, but nobody answered. I got impatient, so I continued staring them just to get an answer, going as far as using profane language. The 10th time I did it, my mum called me out and put shame on me. I became offended that I killed her with fists. Possibly held up a well-polished knife with thick, small blood dripping from it. I gasped in horror. You didn't, I sobbed. I did, he said melancholy before chuckling quietly. Possibly continued telling his story. I was tired of working with people I didn't care for. One time they bothered me too much. I've taken a risk, which means I mouthed what looked like I was saying, no, before saying, you murdered them. Possibly nodded silently, not saying a single word. Possibly then stopped pacing around and looked away. Those trolls. I will never, in a million years, forgive them for what they've done to me, he said, trying to not to choke up. They were too much for me. I've dealt with that too, I responded. Possibly slightly turned his head towards me, a side view of his face, but not his entire face. You want to know what I've done to them? He asked in a low voice. Let me guess, you red-rummed them? I asked, making a signing reference. It was too much. I can't take these a-holes anymore. I didn't want to do either of those crimes, but I had to take a risk. Postboy replied, about to cry. I clenched my teeth in discomfort. I was worried and concerned meeting a future version of myself. Postboy walked towards me and put his hand on my shoulder. I've been wanting to say this to you since we met a few minutes ago, Rowan. Join me, and together we can be free from the problems that affected us all, and the people that have bothered and hurt us emotionally. I looked down at the path, thinking of my decision. It was a hard decision, but I made up my mind seconds later. I can't do that. You'll take advantage of me. I'm not a monster, nor am I a criminal. I finally got a chance to walk on my 2 feet again down the path. I'm sorry, I apologized. Postboy then interrupted me. Wait, I have one thing left to say. You've got no idea why my name is Postboy, right? I looked back, not bothering to say anything. I love pasta, he continued as he walked slowly towards me. It's so delicious. It's so thick, so rich, and so delectable. All I need is sauce. I can grab some pasta sauce for you, I replied. No, I'm looking for sauce. Right inside here. He finished, pointing his knife at my chest. I realized what Postboy meant by that gesture. He was referring to the blood inside my body. Seeing that disgusting, sinister grin on his face, I quickly threw a punch to his face, causing him to fall on the floor. I quickly made a run for the party until Postboy regained motion and ran after me. He ran so fast that he skidded right in front of me with an evil smile slapped on his face. I skidded to a halt, seeing my future self in my very own eyes. He started off as a soft-spoken villain with a tragic backstory. Now he became a psychopathic killing machine he is. And suddenly started raining, and thunder started roaring. He swung his knife towards me with an attempt to stab me. This went on 2 times until he smashed his fist into my face to stun me. Postboy then tried to stab me in the eye with his knife, and we struggled for the knife and built up strength to push it away from me before he punched me smack dab in the face again, causing me to hit a nearby tree on my shoulder. Postboy was already charging towards me. I darted away from him. At the very last second, his knife got stuck to the tree. Postboy struggled to take his knife out of the tree before I popped up and used the side of my fist to whack him straight in the cheekbone. I had the advantage to give him a curb stomp battle. I kicked him in the stomach when he tried to stab me with a nearby syrup stick and pinned him against another tree. He suddenly backhanded me in the face, causing me to fall into a puddle from the rain. Heh, smart enough to write stories with creativity in your imagination? I tried to punch him again, but he invaded my throat. But too weak to defend the future versions of yourself. I tried to throw a punch, but he blocked my fist and punched me in the chest, sending me flying backwards. I could hear his maniacal cackle as I was sent flying. Once I landed in another hoverable, Postboy walked towards me. He chuckled as I was trying to regain vision. I noticed a cut on my right arm, a minor scratch with small drops of blood leaking out of it. You're never going to beat me. Admit it, Hordon, Postboy mocked. You may be all smart, tough, and creative, but you're never going to get rid of your future. I panted heavily as more rain dripped down over the woods, and it stung my scratch, causing sensitivity to go around my body. But don't worry. I'm going to make sure your legacy will still live on, he said before whipping his knife out and raising it in the air with intent to stab me. What he said angered me. I regained the upper hand and used both my legs to kick him in the chest, making him fall backwards. I suddenly grabbed him by his shirt collar and used my non-stretched arm to punch him in the jaw 5 to 6 times. He then grabbed his knife out, was whacked out of his hands due to the kick I gave him, and tried to stab me again, but I thrust his fist to stun him and grabbed the knife out of his hand with my other hand and threw it at a great distance and into a large pond. Postboy grew weaker as I continued delivering multiple blows to him. Suddenly, a lightning bolt hit a tree and one of the branches came falling towards us. I made a run for it, and so did Postboy. As I ran, Postboy attempted to grab me, to kill me, or fight me again, before the large tree branch landed on him, crushing and killing him. The shockwave of the branch knocked me to the ground. I looked behind me, and Postboy had died. I needed to hide his body so no one would call the police. I grabbed his body out of a branch and walked to the pond. The water was contaminated, so I thought it wouldn't be a big problem. Good night, sweet prince, I said softly before throwing his body into the pond. His body sunk down until his body disappeared at the very bottom. I then walked back to the party, and it was time for lunch. 6:40 p.m. My mum found me. Rowan, where were you? I was about to get worried sick, my mum said. I had to film some stock footage of the woods at night, I replied, to keep a secret. My mom bought the lie, so did her friend. I grabbed some lunch, and it was time for dinner. I had a beef and gravy roll, and it tasted good. 7:50 p.m. It was time to go home. I was already tired and stressed out. I had a long night and a long fight. My mom opened up my car door and I was already feeling doozy. We finally got back to our residence and I walked to my flat and took off all my clothes, leaving me in only my underwear. Instead of lying into my bed, I dropped to the floor, curled into fetal position, and finally closed my eyes shut. It was so appalling to see my future self. I was so petrified. But the good thing is that I did what was best to defend myself and not end up like him. But worst case scenario, he possibly might resurrect and hunt me down again.